Hello everyone! Last week, we began our update on the story of Sylvanas, talking about her appointment as war chief, going after the power to create more Val'kyr, and the events just before Battle for Azeroth. The Dark Lady decided that Teldrassil had to burn, opening up the path for the Alliance to retaliate with the siege of Lordaeron.
Let it rain down upon their armies.
There must be another way, War Chief.
This is no time for sentiment, High Overlord. War demands that we take a more direct approach.
It's killing her own troops.
Destroy them!
She's raising their bodies. We must evacuate the wounded!
The Blight is too dangerous, my king! We cannot afford to...
The Alliance leaves no soldier behind. Not this time.
My king, our siege towers are lost. Our numbers are waning.
Father, help me. I need your guidance. I need...
The Blight has broken our ranks!
Our assault has been for nothing.
What now?
We end this now.
Keep moving! So good of you to finally show up, High Overlord.
I had to see it for myself. Was this your plan all along? Is this how you meant to achieve victory? This honorless travesty?
Honor means nothing to a corpse, Saurfang. You have the luxury of underestimating death. But it is something with which I am intimately familiar. Maybe you don't care if your people die so long as it's honorable, but to me, this horde is worth saving. Anyone who disagrees does not deserve to stand among us. So die your warrior's death, High Overlord Saurfang. It means little to me. Perhaps I will raise your broken body to serve me once more. Or perhaps you will have a chance to say hello to your son. Champions, with me, you are invited to bear witness to the grand finale.
You abandoned Saurfang to die out there!
It is the death he wanted. If that troubles you, you're free to join him. Or you can tend to the living. The choice is yours.
for the Horde.
You know what must be done. Go, my champion. Look at you. The boy's playing soldier.
Our king just routed your army!
Muzzle your dog, your majesty.
Sylvanas Windrunner, you have led the Horde to a place without honor. Lordaeron is ours. It's over.
Your father would be so proud. Is that his? You've gotten it all bloody.
Only one of us wanted this war.
You call for peace when it suits you, little lion. But you're quick enough to kill.
I should have killed you when last we met.
How rude, sister. You're a guest in my home.
Your home? You desecrate that throne with your filth! Enough!
You put the torch to Teldrassil. But I failed those who burned. I will not make that mistake again. Surrender. Or die.
You've won nothing.
Despite throwing plan upon plan, trap upon trap against the Alliance, Sylvanas, she's unable to take them out. She just keeps on failing, until ultimately she decides to blow up the entire city, but not even that does the job. She's also showing the Horde that she is a war chief who cares little for honor and all about results. This moment right here, it would set the tone for the rest of Battle for Azeroth. The war chief doing whatever it takes to get the job done. Plans failing, more and more voices rising up, that she is taking them down a dark path, one that the Horde should not, cannot follow. But not all of the Horde agrees with the mindset. Players were actually given a choice to stand with the Banshee Queen during the expansion. Some small choices here and there as to where your true loyalty lies, and while it didn't have a major impact on the overall story, and will probably not have any major implications later down the line, it was still nice to at least have a little bit of agency over your allegiance, especially when you compare it to the days of Garrosh's Hellscream. Back then, a lot of players wanted to side with the war chief, and they simply couldn't. At least this time around, there was somewhat of a choice. So, in quick overview as to what went down during Battle for Azeroth with relation to Sylvanas. After the Siege of Lordaeron, there were new allies recruited. The Horde teamed up with the Zandalari trolls after rescuing their princess from the Stormwind Saccades, and they partied in Zandalar. This allegiance, it threw them right into the war with the Alliance, and during the battle for the Zaralor, the Alliance took out the King Rastigan, which meant that Princess Talungi now became Queen Talungi. Unknown to her was that her father had made a bargain with Bonsamdi, the Loa of Death. The Loa would stand with the king, empower him, but only if his bloodline, all those that succeeded him, would keep this bargain, to serve Bonsamdi in life and in death. So with the passing of Rastigan, that deal now passed on to his daughter as well.
Well, since you be so eager to get rid of me, I got a new deal for you. Bring me the head of the Horde's war chief, and I be forgetting all about your father's bargain.
Oh, by the Loa. No, the Horde stood beside us when all seemed lost. I will not repay them with betrayal.
That's your final answer?
It is. My freedom is not worth my honor.
Knowing what we know now, perhaps she should have taken that new deal. Although, you could argue that this was just a test from Bonsamdi. Then in Darkshore, the Night Elves would find the strength to retaliate. Through the Whisperwind, she went through an incredibly dangerous ritual to invoke the dark side of Elune. She became the Night Warrior in a quest for vengeance. Great power was bestowed upon the Priestess of Elune, enough so to kick the Horde out of their lands, take out one of Sylvanas' Val'kyr, but not before her forces were able to convert some of the Night Elves into Dark Rangers. The priest artifact from Legion, which is called Zealotov, it showed up again, guiding heroes of the world to the loving embrace of the old god N'Zoth. This old god, he wants to break out of its prison, and he has Horde players bring the blade to Sylvanas, which they do for some reason. This blade, it provides the war chief with a new plan of attack, to wipe out not only the Alliance, but also the rising voices of resentment amongst the Horde. An allegiance is formed with Azora, Queen of the Naga, and supposed ally to N'Zoth.
Enter and behold the greatest of truths. Behold my betrayal and yours.
We have a bargain then. I will bring both fleets crashing to the ocean floor, and your champion will deliver the dagger to me.
And in turn, you will have the key required to free the old god from his bonds, and leave him vulnerable.
You wound me, War Chief. After all, I am as dedicated to my master as you are to your subjects.
Indeed. Just to be certain that once you have what you need, you dispose of your guests. Let none of the heroes escape.
I admire your ruthlessness, Windrunner. It seems our interests are aligned. At present.
At present.
Treacherous banshee. Do you think I am blind to the darkness you seek to unleash?
Only I can save this world.
But neither Nashatar nor Azora would be able to stop the heroes of the world, not when they're working together again. We were manipulated in unwillingly helping the old god N'Zoth escape from its prison. Now that's a threat that the world would vanquish as well, but in the case of Sylvanas, we see that the Horde has found the body of Derek Proudmoore, who is the brother of Jaina Proudmoore, who died quite a few years ago while defending the world against the First Horde. The corpse is resurrected by Sylvanas, with the plan of warping his mind, twisting him into a puppet, and then send him back home to deal damage from within. A plan that crosses the line for Bane Bloodhoof. He finally decides that enough is enough, and under the cover of darkness, he liberates Derek to bring him back to his sister.
Why?
The Horde has a sickness in it. We wage war while the Earth Mother dies. We have forgotten what truly matters, and my heart can bear it no longer.
Sylvanas will kill you for this. And she may not stop with you.
No life is worth living if we cannot be true to our nature.
Death was not the price that Bane would pay for his betrayal, not when he could be used for bait. Jaina, Matthias Shaw, Thrall, and even Saurfang, they moved out to rescue the leader of the Tarn within Orgrimmar. Saurfang was not slain during the siege of Lordaeron. Anduin had decided to imprison him until it became clear that in order to stop the Banshee Queen, they were going to have to work together. In secret, Saurfang has moved about, avoiding loyalists and assassins alike. He was the one that convinced Thrall to come back from Outland and stand with the Horde once more.
This feels wrong. Sylvanas must have known we were coming.
Indeed she did, traitor. You and Lady Proudmoore.
Despite this being an obvious trap, we are still able to fight our way out of there. Plan upon plan, and they just keep on failing. The events here and the events in Nashatar, it has showed the Alliance and the Horde that, as usual, working together, it brings them far greater profits than standing alone. They gather their forces and make ready for another siege of Orgrimmar. Meanwhile, inside the gates, the Loyalists, they've been working hard to prepare themselves. Citizens are rallied to take up arms, while any propaganda spreading all manners of lies, it's removed from the streets. Any citizen that has a problem with that, they're put to the sword, while the siege engines waiting outside, they're sabotaged with bombs. Gallywix, he does some important paperwork, by burning as much evidence as he can, yet all of this, it wouldn't matter, as the second siege of Orgrimmar, it would not be a massive raid. Instead, it would be a one-on-one duel.
Sylvanas Windrunner! I challenge Mak'gora!
A traitor leading traitors. Why should I accept your challenge?
You want to make me suffer. Brother, you cannot win. My old friend. You and I. We don't get to hide.
I set you on this path.
And we knew where it could lead. Walk with me. The rest of the way. Let it be finished.
The High Overlord falls. I trusted you. And so did they. Death comes, old soldier. And all their hope dies with you.
You cannot kill hope. You tried at Teldrassil. You failed. Hope remains. You set us to kill each other at Lordaeron. You failed. Here we stand. You just keep failing. The Horde will endure. The Horde is strong.
The Horde is nothing! If you could see yourselves as I see you. Toy soldiers in tin plate. Beasts who howl for honor. Standing as one. Savor it. Nothing lasts.
A duel our Saurfang knew he could not win, but one in which he still claimed victory by outing Sylvanas to the rest of the hordes. His death, it has prevented more bloodshed, while the Banshee Queen, she abandons all of them. The Horde, her loyalists, the Forsaken, abandons them to pursue her true plans.
As do I, Dark Lady. But when the time comes, there can be no hesitation.
There won't be. Safe journey, Nathanos.
Safe journey, my love.
Serve the Horde. Champion. I wasn't certain you made it out of Orgrimmar. If the traitors knew of your service to me, they'd have put you in irons. Or worse. Saurfang's ill-considered challenge may have ended the war prematurely, but it doesn't matter now. Countless souls have been fed to the hungering darkness. Though I cared nothing for the living, I did pity the Forsaken, for the great injustice that made them what they are. I understand the cruelty of fate better than anyone. But despite all I taught them, they stubbornly clung to hope, to life. They will learn the truth, along with all the rest. My bargain with Azshara will yet bear fruit. The armies of Azeroth will fight her master, and he will line their streets with corpses. In the end, he too will serve death. Enough reflection. There are preparations to be made. Nothing lasts. When next you see me, you will understand.
The war chief has left the Horde behind, which leaves some people with quite the hate boner. People like Gen Greymane and Troran the Whisperwind. They won't rest until they've claimed their heads, claimed vengeance for all the death and destruction that she has caused. No matter the fragile peace that the Allies and Horde try to come up with again. No matter the changes in leadership within the Horde, now ruled by a council rather than a war chief, they won't rest until the Dark Lady has paid. That's for those that hated her, but the ones who loved her, the Forsaken and Loyalists that stayed at her side through it all, they're hurting, truly feeling forsaken now. Some placed in chains, while others, they stick to the shadows, hoping that this is all part of some major plan. I have my doubts that being a loyalist to Sylvanas will actually have major lore implications in the next expansion, but I have been surprised before. With the Dark Lady gone, it's Lillian Voss that has stepped up to lead the Forsaken. At her side, we find Kadia Menethil. At the moment, she's focused her attention on offering guidance and comfort to the recently resurrected Night Elves, but the possibility is still there that she is going to be the one to fulfill the role of new Queen of the Forsaken. Only time's going to tell if that is going to happen. To stay with Sylvanas, she has abandoned the Horde, the factions and her people to pursue new plans. Or perhaps a more accurate description, that would be to pursue her true plans. It turns out that for all these years, as we've been following her storyline, more's been happening behind the curtains than what we were actually told. This is the point where we're going to be talking about lore from the Shadowlands, so if you want to go completely blind into the next expansion, be completely surprised about the developments, this will be the time to turn off the video. And let me just say thank you very much for watching. For those sticking around, let's roll back the clock for our Sylvanas. It's the end of Wrath the Lich King. She has accomplished her goal of claiming vengeance upon Arthas. She jumps from the top of Icecrown and she ends up in Hell, or the Maw as we now know it as. Normally souls that go into the afterlife, they're judged by the Arbiter and then sent off to the domain where they belong. It's uncertain if Sylvanas was judged to be worthy of the Maw. And those that go into the Maw, they are the most irredeemable and vile source of the universe. It's the domain where none escapes. Or if the ruler of that domain, the jailer himself, had something to do with her arrival. Either way, that eternal torment, it was a certainty. And she makes a bargain with the 9 Val'kyr. They would take her place in Hell upon Death. In exchange, they would be free from Bolvar's control. Added to that is that this is the moment in which he got in contact with the jailer. He would send her those Val'kyr to serve as a tethers to mortality. A pact needed to be made. Only then could she return beyond the veil. Only then will the Banshee Queen claim the crown of the false king. Zoval is not down with being the jailer of the irredeemable, and he wants to escape the Maw. The Helm of Domination, it was crafted to be the way forward. Instead, the one seared by the flames of life, he uses it to keep them at bay. It took all of Bolvar's will to keep their insidious power in check. Many times he nearly faltered. But this does mean that there's more story being added to the Helm of Domination, to Frostmourne, and just the story of the Lich King in general, which of course also has massive effects on the story of Sylvanas. If the jailer is the true master of the helmet, and they've been manipulating events to get into Azeroth, there's information suggesting that the Dreadlords were actually forces working for the domain of death, rather than the domain of disorder and the Burning Legion. If those manipulations of placing Arthas on the path of the damned, the fall of Silvermoon used in the Sunwell to resurrect Kel'Thuzad, Frostmourne, and bring back Sylvanas as a Banshee, pushing her on a path to claim vengeance. If all of that came from the jailer and the realm of death, then shouldn't she be as pissed at the jailer as she was at Arthas? Well, perhaps she actually is. Perhaps she's pulling an Illidan by using the power of her enemy against them. Or maybe it is what it looks like at face value. Imagine your soul being stuck in a realm, suffering unimaginable torment, and the rule of that domain, it offers you a way out. You've already been condemned. You're already judged as being irredeemable. What's stopping you from accepting this offer and working together with the jailer, and in turn, avoiding all of that torment?
Nothing is fair. Not life, not death. But through the jailer, control of our fate will at last be possible.
Motivations that are still not entirely clear. We're not 100% certain what Sylvanas' end goal is in all of this. We do know that ever since the end of Wrath the Lich King, she has been in league with the jailer, the Cataclysm, that released in 2010. So that's about 10 years of storytelling that is now being altered. And I would be very surprised if this was the path that they always had in mind for the Banshee Queen. Most likely, they've come up with this idea later, and they're now trying to make it fit. So there's the Cataclysm, which had her introduce the new Val'kyr, the capability of making new Forsaken, bringing back Lillian Voss from the dead, and overall it focused on adding more forces, increasing the bulwark against the infinite, staying alive and staying out of hell. Mr. Pandaria was mainly just following Garrosh around while avoiding self-harm and massive loss of troops. With the addition of the trial in war crimes, there she worked together with her sister to poison Garrosh, a plan that Varisa backed out of. In Warlords of Draenor, there was no significant part to play. And then there's Legion, where according to BlizzCon, at some point in this expansion, the machine of death got broken, meaning that normally souls, they will be judged and sorted into a domain where they belong. Now, regardless of how you lived your life, regardless of where you belong, all souls are vacuumed into the Maw, which in turn, it increases the jailer's power, and by extension, those of Sylvanas as well. A great opportunity to kill a whole bunch of people and send them to her ally. But that wasn't really what she did in the expansion. She even put herself in harm's way by being there right at the start on the broken shore. Was this all to just keep up appearance? Well, if we follow the information given in Before the Storm, this is where she truthfully told Anduin that she wasn't planning on betraying his father, that the events on the broken shore were set in stone anyways, and that she followed the guidance of Vol'jin. The Horde, it could not die that day, so she called upon the Val'kyr to get them out of there. And for someone like Sylvanas, putting those Val'kyr out on the battlefield, it's an incredibly huge risk. Vol'jin then appointed her as the war chief. That was done because he heard the Loa speak to him, spirits whispering a name. Sylvanas had to come out of the shadows, a role that she didn't particularly wanted, and she seemed surprised about getting. In Battle for Azeroth, we even asked Vol'jin's spirit what the hell he was thinking, making the Dark Lady the war chief. And as it turns out, those voices that he had heard, they were not the benevolent Loa. Once more, manipulations from the Shadowlands, they made this happen. So, did Sylvanas just show up at the broken shore, then plan on a demon to stab Vol'jin, but not instantly take his life? Save the day and return to Orgrimmar, just so that all those pieces could line up perfectly to manipulate the Darkspear into appointing her as the war chief? Or did the jailer just never really tell her about this plan, and it all just kinda worked out? Who knows, but still, even as war chief, her focus was not on sending as many souls to the Shadowlands as she could. Rather, her focus and attention, they were placed upon enslaving Aegir, creating more Val'kyr, and adding to that bulwark. It wasn't until Battle for Azeroth where we really see a push into killing as many people as she could and increase the power of the jailer. The plans she had made, on the surface they failed. The Horde, it was unable to wipe out the Alliance. Derek, he didn't do the damage from within. Azora didn't drown them all in Ashatar. Traitors and rebels, they mucked about. But the loss of life during the Fourth War, it was incredible. Regardless of how it all played out, the Dark Lady and the jailer, they still won. They increased her power so much so that she was able to one-shot Saurfang, and then she continued her journey to the top of Icecrown to challenge Bolvar to a one-on-one.
You are unfit to wear this crown. To wield so much power.
That power will be your prison.
This world is a prison.
And while she fought, Navanos and some of her troops, they were sent on a mission to take out Bonsamdi, a mission that has failed. My champion, Sylvanas purred. Your timing could not be better. Tell me of your victory as we take these first steps together. Navanos stood, slowly, and she noticed a tremble in his hands. Before he could even get his bearings, she felt simmering anger in her soul begin to boil. The story was etched in sorrow across his face. I failed you, my queen. Bonsamdi lives. Sarah Moon Warden has been captured. I could not carry out your commands. The Horde, they came in force. They resisted us. I fear that Bonsamdi will only grow more defiant now. Sylvanas slid her gaze from his blubbering lips to the tower looming above. His failure would complicate things considerably and sour the triumph that had a moment ago felt so complete. She raised her head higher, closing her eyes briefly. In the back of her mind, Saurfang's baritone mocked her. You just keep failing. With a snarl, she silenced the long dead voice and dug her nails into her gloved palms. Navanos stared at her, and his lips quivering with rage. His veneer cracking as he struggled, no doubt, to contain all the excuses and justifications he had prepared and that she would not hear. Sylvanas could strike him, scream and hollow out his soul, but it would not correct the failing. Only forward momentum would do that. This was a blow, but one she felt sure they could overcome. It would not be easy, but then her mission required great sacrifice. Must I tell you to go? Navanos swallowed hard, crushing the vial in his hand, a crunch like bone. The shimmering dust slid between his fingers like sand. I will return to the Maristet, my lady, and await your orders. She heard a note of hope in his voice, fragile as a fledgling dropped from the nest. Go where you will, Navanos, but do not be idle. The Loa knows the Shadowlands well. I expect you will return to me with means to prevent his meddling. Sylvanas flicked her fingers, as if ridding herself of a speck of muck. My path lies ahead, and so it did. And so she continued, for power sought power, and she would have more of it, not for its own sake, but to wield it. The unjust ladder of their lives must be dismantled, not rung by rung, but all at once. All of it. She had been the plaything of a self-righteous cosmos long enough. The jailer, too, understood what must be done. She did not know if or when Nephanos left. It mattered not. She had merged entirely with the shadows there already, part of the darkness at last. The veil between this world and the next, it had been shattered. Death is coming to claim the soul of this world. Again, motivations and whatnot, they're still going to be explained. We do know that a couple of our leaders, they're going on a little trip.
I knew she would come one day to seize this power for herself. Instead, she has done the unthinkable. Now, she will come for them all. To finish what she started. And break all who opposed her. Those who held Azeroth together will be in her sights.
They get to enjoy the hospitalities of the Maw. Perhaps they'll come around and see things from Sylvanas' point of view. That's pretty much where the story is at right now when it comes to Sylvanas. The world, it's out for blood. They want her head. Forces like Bonsandi, Ulun, or life itself, they've been mentioned as forces to oppose her. It's going to be interesting to see this ultimate fate that they have in store for the Banshee Queen. Now, in my earlier full version, I argued that her main motivation, it was to stay alive, to stay out of hell, and she would do anything to accomplish that goal. That motivation, it still seems to hold true, except she is now actively working with the ruler of that realm, and by extension, avoiding that torment she endured. But when it comes to figuring out how this is going to play out, what they're going to do with the Banshee Queen, it's really hard to tell when their ultimate motivations are still kept in the dark. We know that the jailer wants to break out, but the whole reason as to why he was placed in the Maw to begin with, how the Helmet of Domination and Frostmourne is connected to him, what he wants to do once he's actually free, that's still a big question mark. Sylvanas has agreed to work with the jailer, but did she do so willingly, as in agreeing with his point of views, his plans, and therefore become a loyal ally? Or did she do this because of the torments? Again, if I was in hell and I'd be given a way out, I'd probably take it as well. Or could there be more at play? Did she realize that the jailer was not going to be a threat to just sit idle and do nothing, knowing that he was out there, working on breaking free? Did she decide to pull an Illidan and pretend to work from within? Regardless of the many threats that we have faced in the living world, if the afterlife has something like the jailer, does it really matter what we do? Wouldn't it be wise to force the hand of fate, speed up the process, and directly confront Zovaal, rather than just sit back and wait around for him to strike? Maybe. And then for what will happen to Sylvanas. Ultimately, I don't think everybody is going to be satisfied, but we'll all have our preferences. I'm personally of the opinion that she deserves to be more than a Gul'dan, meaning that she would just be used to kick off the next expansion and then taken care of in a raid. I wouldn't mind seeing more motivation added to her actions. Does that make things like the burning of Teldrassil right? No, really it doesn't. I think that is a line that they crossed, a line that you don't really get back from. The genocide of the Night Elves, as they described it, making Garrosh look like an amateur. You can't really just bring Sylvanas back as a leader. That's just a little bit too far, in my humble opinion. But perhaps just death doesn't have to be the answer either. She has made life her enemy. So what if life is exactly the thing she gets? Life being one of the lines that she told her sisters during the Windrunner reunion. Imagine the Banshee Queen restored to her former elven self, only to then truly experience the horrific things that she's done. No longer with the disinterest of the undead, but to truly feel and pay for her crimes. That way, they can then take her and put her on ice somewhere, maybe imprisoned to reflect and learn, and then use her in the future again. I don't know, there are so many possibilities that they could go with when it comes to the Banshee Queen. I'm really curious to see what they have in mind. By all means, let me know how you would like to see this story play out. What would you like to see happen to her in the comments down below? Is it going to be her head on a spike? Is she going to be the new jailer? Life restored or something else entirely? Let me know. And with that, we've reached the end of our update. The end of our video. So as always, thank you very much for watching everyone. Subscribe if you like my videos. Leave a like if you enjoyed this one. And until next time, see ya!